Ryan Cooper sat alone at the corner table in Marilo's, checking his phone for what felt like the 8th time. It was clear now his blind date wasn't coming. She was over half an hour late, and that familiar heaviness settled in his chest. 5 years after losing his wife, he should have known better than to think he was ready. Just then, the restaurant door burst open. 2 little girls, maybe 7 years old, rushed in wearing matching dresses, their hair messy and their faces streaked with tears and something else, dirt, scratches. One even had blood on her collar. A cold dread slid down Ryan's spine. They scanned the room wildly until both sets of eyes landed on him. Without hesitation, they sprinted toward his table. "Are you Ryan?" one of them gasped, out of breath. Ryan shot to his feet, chair scrapping loudly. "Yes, I'm Ryan." "What's wrong? Are you hurt?" The second girl grabbed his arm so tightly her fingers dug into his skin. Her voice cracked with panic. "Our mom, she was coming here to meet you, but men came to our house. They broke in." The first girl cut in, words tumbling out in frantic bursts. "They were yelling. She told us to run, so we ran." Ryan knelt in front of them, heart pounding. "Slow down. Where is your mother right now?" Both girls spoke at once, their voices overlapping through tears. "They hurt her. She's dying." The restaurant went silent. Every head turned. Instinct kicked in, years of working as a physical therapist sharpening his focus. "Where is she?" he demanded. "At our house," one twin cried. 3 blocks away, she pointed with a trembling hand. "She was on the floor, a broken bar. There was so much blood, a broken bar, she wasn't moving." Ryan already had his phone out, dialing 911 while tightening his grip on their hands. "Give me your address, tell me right now." As one twin sobbed out their street number to him and the emergency operator, the other tugged on his sleeve, her voice barely a whisper. "Please hurry. We don't know if she's still breathing." Ryan didn't waste another second. He sprinted toward the door with the girls clinging to him, the phone pressed to his ear as he relayed information he could barely piece together. Someone shouted something about the bill behind him, but he didn't stop. 3 blocks away, a woman he had never met might be dying, and her daughters had somehow found him among thousands of people. The girls led him through the streets, their small legs straining to keep up. They cried as they ran but didn't slow down. "There!" one of them cried, pointing to a 2-story house with the white fence. The front door hung crooked, kicked clean off its hinges. A chill roared through Ryan. "Stay behind me," he ordered as they reached the porch. "Don't come in until I say it's safe." "But our mama, I'll get to her." "I promise. Stay here." He stepped inside. The living room was a war zone. Overturned furniture, shattered glass, broken picture frames. And then he saw her. A woman lay motionless near the couch, blonde hair soaked with blood, face swollen and beaten. She was dressed nicely, heels discarded nearby. She had been getting ready for their date. Ryan dropped to his knees beside her, fingers moving to her neck. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" Nothing. He shifted, pressing harder. "Come on, broken bar, come on, broken bar." There, a faint pulse. "I have a pulse," he shouted into the phone. "She's unconscious. Severe head trauma. Shallow breathing." "Where's the ambulance?" 2 minutes out, that dispatcher replied. "Don't move her. Keep her neck stable." Sirens wailed in the distance. Ryan glanced toward the doorway where the twins stood frozen in fear. "She's alive," he said firmly, making sure they heard. "Your mom is alive. Help is almost here." One twin let out a strangled sob, half relief, half terror. The ambulance arrived a minute and a half later, followed by police. Paramedics rushed in, surrounding the woman, checking vitals, stabilizing her, fitting an oxygen mask over her bruised face. "Severe concussion," one paramedic said. "Possible skull fracture, multiple contusions, broken ribs. We need to move now." They lifted her onto a stretcher. The twins tried to follow, but a police officer gently blocked them. "Girls, we need to ask you a few questions." "No," one of them screamed. "We have to go with our mom." Ryan stepped forward before he even realized what he was doing. "Officer, they just watched their mother get attacked. They're terrified. Let them come with me to the hospital. You can question them there." The officer frowned. "And who are you?" Ryan paused. What was he? A stranger? A man she had never even met? I'm Ryan Cooper. Their mother and I had a date scheduled tonight. The girls came to find me when this happened. Another officer approached the older, calmer. Let them go with him. We'll handle the scene here. The first officer gave a reluctant nod. Fine, but don't leave the hospital. We'll need statements from all of you. Ryan looked down at the girls. What are your names? I'm Ava, one whispered. She's Grace. Okay, Ava and Grace. We're going to the hospital right now. They nodded and clung to his hands again. Since Ryan's car was still back at the restaurant, a police officer offered to drive them. They climbed into the back of the cruiser. The twins pressed tightly against Ryan as the vehicle pulled away. Through the cruiser's windshield, Ryan watched the ambulance speed ahead of them, lights flashing and sirens cutting through the night. What's your mom's name? He asked softly. Nicole Harrison, Grace whispered. Is she going to die? Ryan wished he could give her a promise, something solid, something comforting, but he'd seen injuries like these too many times to lie. The doctors are going to do everything they can, he said gently. Your mom is strong, and she's still breathing. That's the most important thing right now. Ava's voice trembled. Why did those men hurt her? Who are they? I don't know, Ryan answered honestly. But the police will figure it out. At the hospital, everything erupted into chaos. Nicole was rushed straight into emergency surgery. The twins were taken to a private waiting room where a social worker met them. Ryan. Both girls clung to him desperately. Please don't leave, Grace cried. Please. The social worker, a warm, calm woman named Patricia, pulled Ryan aside. Do the girls have any family we can call? I have no idea, Ryan admitted. I met them 20 minutes ago. Patricia blinked in surprise. Gary Broken Bar not related. He explained everything at the blind date. The girls running into the restaurant. What they'd told him. Patricia listened, her expression shifting to sympathy. Until we reach any other relatives, she said gently. You're the only familiar person they have. Are you willing to stay with them? Ryan looked over at Ava and Grace. They were curled up together on a stiff plastic chair, dresses dirty, faces streaked with tears. Their world had collapsed in a single night, and somehow they'd latched onto him as the one solid thing left. Yes, he said quietly, I'll stay. His phone buzzed up. It was Jessica, his sister-in-law, calling again. He stepped into the hall. Ryan, where are you? She blurted. Nicole never showed up and you're not answering. Jess, slow down, Ryan said. Something happened. Something bad. He told her everything. When he finished, Jessica didn't speak for several seconds. Oh my God, she breathed. Is Nicole a broken bar? She's in surgery. It's really bad. I'm coming. Which hospital? Sacred Heart. But Jessu, can you pick up Jake on your way and bring him? I don't know how long I'll be here, and the girls need someone familiar. Of course, I'll be there in 30 minutes. Ryan returned to the waiting room. The girls hadn't touched the juice or crackers Patricia brought. Do you know if your mom has any family we should call? He asked. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, grandma and grandpa live in Oregon, Ava said. We see them at Christmas. What about your dad? Both girls froze. Grace's eyes filled instantly, and Ava's jaw tightened. It too mature, too guarded for a 7-year-old. We don't see our dad, Ava said coldly. Something heavy settled in Ryan's stomach. Why not? They exchanged a silent look before Grace whispered. He scares us. Mom divorced him because he was mean. He yelled all the time. He never hit us, but he threw things. Ava added quietly. Mom said we didn't have to see him anymore. Ryan felt the pieces clicking together. Girls, think carefully, he said. When those men broke in tonight at Broken Bar, did you see their faces? Both nodded. Did you recognize any of them? A long, tense silence followed. Then Ava whispered, one of them was our dad. The waiting room door opened just then, and the same 2 officers from the house walked in. Sergeant Morrison, the older Onia, took a seat with his notepad. Girls, he said gently, I know this is hard, but we need you to tell us everything that happened. Can you do that? Ava and Grace looked at Ryan. He nodded. It's okay. Tell them. Ava began, voice trembling. Mom was getting ready for her date. She was excited. She showed us Mr. Ryan's picture that Miss Jessica sent her. She said she'd be back by 9 and Mrs. Chen next door would check on us. Grace took over. We were playing in a room when we heard the front door crash, like someone kicked it. Mom screamed and ran downstairs. Ava continued. We opened our door a little and looked. There were 3 men in the living room. Big men. Mom was yelling at them to leave, that she was calling the police. What did they look like? Morrison asked. One was really tall with a shaved head. Grace said. One had tattoos all over his arms. Ava's voice cracked. And only a broken bar was our dad. Morrison leaned forward. You're sure? Yes, they said together. What's his name? Trevor Madden. Ava answered. He and Mom divorced 2 years ago. Morrison exchanged a grim look with his partner, who stepped out to make a call. What happened next? Morrison asked. Grace's hands trembled. Dad was yelling at Mom. He said she owed him money, that she stole everything from him. Ava added. Mom said she didn't owe him anything. The divorce was final. She told him to leave. Then the tall man pushed her. She hit the couch. Grace shuddered. Dad started yelling louder. He said her company was worth millions now and that the money should have been his. Ryan clenched his fists but stayed silent. Mom tried to get to her phone. Grace said, voice breaking. But the man with tattoos grabbed her, and in a broken bar she couldn't finish. Ava stepped in. They started hitting her, all 3. She tried to protect her head, but they kept hitting and kicking her. We didn't know what to do. You did exactly the right thing, Morrison said. What happened after that? Mom saw us at the top of the stairs. Grace said. She screamed for us to run, to go find Mr. Ryan at the restaurant. So we ran down the back stairs. Ava added. We heard Dad yelling, but we didn't stop. Morrison turned to Ryan. And they found you at Marillo's? Yes, they told me what happened. I called 911 and went straight to the house. The younger officer returned, face dark. He murmured something to Morrison. Morrison looked at Ryan. Trevor Madden has a history of assault charges from a bar fight 3 years ago. Nicole filed a restraining order 18 months ago. It expired 6 months back. He has 2 known associates. Units are searching for all 3. He knew where she lived. Ryan said quietly. He knew she'd be alone with the girls. We're pulling his phone records, Morrison said. We'll find him. Just then, a doctor stepped into the doorway wearing surgical scrubs. Everyone stood. The twins ran to Ryan, gripping his hands tightly. I'm Dr. Patel, she began, her expression carefully controlled. Dr. Patel had that look of the one doctors wear when the news isn't good. She crouched to meet Grace's tiny gaze. Nicole Harrison is out of surgery, she said. We've stabilized her, but her injuries are severe. Concussion, fractured skull, 3 broken ribs, internal bleeding that we managed to stop. She's in critical condition. Is she going to wake up? Grace whispered, her voice barely audible. Dr. Patel placed a gentle hand on the girl's shoulder. Right now, your mom is in a medically induced coma. That means we're keeping her asleep on purpose so her brain can heal. We won't know the full extent of her injuries until the swelling goes down. It could take days. Can we see her? Ava asked. Soon, Dr. Patel replied. We need to get her settled in the ICU first. But yes, you'll be able to see her. After Dr. Patel left, Patricia returned with news. I've reached Nicole's parents in Oregon. They're booking the first flight they can, but they won't arrive until tomorrow afternoon. I've also contacted Mrs. Chen, your neighbor, if she's willing to stay at your house tonight. No, Grace cried. We want to stay with Mom. Patricia knelt down gently. Sweetheart, you can't stay in the ICU overnight. You need rest. We're not going back to that house. Ava shouted. What if Dad comes back? Or those men? Patricia looked at Ryan helplessly. I'll make sure they stay somewhere safe tonight, he said firmly. Just for tonight, until their grandparents get here. You're not a legal guardian, but they're traumatized. They're not going back to that house. And they can't stay with someone they barely know. They need to be somewhere safe. He looked at the twins. Is this what you want? Both nodded emphatically. Patricia sighed but nodded. I'll make some calls, though this is highly irregular. 20 minutes later, Jessica arrived with Jake. The 5-year-old immediately noticed the crying twins. From his backpack, he pulled out his favorite blue toy car with the racing stripe he'd carried everywhere since he was 3. He held it out to Grace. You can keep this for tonight. It helps when I'm scared. Grace took it, trembling. Thank you, she whispered. Jake turned to Ava. removing his jacket up, the one with the superhero patch his mother had sewn before she died. "You're cold. You can wear this." Ava put it on, pulling it tight even though it was small. Jessica's eyes were red from crying. She hugged Ryan tightly. "How is Nicole?" "Critical," Ryan said quietly. "They don't know if she'll wake up." The three children sat together on the floor, speaking softly. They clung to one another, holding on in the only way they could. An hour later, a nurse came with permission for a brief visit. The ICU was cold and harsh, filled with blinking monitors and the hiss of machines. Nicole lay in the bed, unrecognizable. Her face was swollen and bruised, eyes shut tight, part of her head bandaged from surgery. Holding hands, Ava and Grace approached the bed. "Mommy," Grace whispered, "can you hear us?" Nicole didn't move. The ventilator breathed for her, steady and mechanical. "We're okay, Mom," Ava said, voice quivering. "Mr. Ryan is taking care of us. Jake gave us his stuff, and we're staying with him tonight. But you have to wake up. You have to, because we need you." Grace gently touched her mother's hand, as if afraid to break her. "I love you, Mommy. Please wake up." Ryan felt his throat tighten. He'd seen countless injuries in his career, but watching these two little girls plead with their unconscious mother was unbearable. The nurse signal time was up. Ryan gently guided the girls back. "We'll come back tomorrow, I promise." They left the hospital just after midnight. Ryan's apartment was small, 2 bedrooms, the place he'd moved into after his wife died. Jessica had offered to take the girls home, but they refused. They wanted to stay with him. The apartment was messy, dishes piled in the sink, toys scattered across the floor, laundry stacked on the couch. Ryan felt a pang of embarrassment, but the twins didn't care. "You girls can sleep in my room," he said. "I'll take the couch." "Where does Jake sleep?" Ava asked. "I have my own room," Jake said proudly. "Want to see?" The twins followed him to his small bedroom, walls covered in drawings and dinosaur posters. Jake showed them his bed, bookshelf, and toy box. "You can sleep with me if you want," he said. "My bed is big." Ava and Grace looked to Ryan. "Can we, if Jake doesn't mind?" "I don't mind," Jake said. "When Mom was alive, I used to sleep in her bed when I had bad dreams. She said sleeping with people you trust makes the fear go away." Ryan's chest tightened. Jake rarely spoke of his mother. Hearing him mention her so matter-of-factly was both heartwarming and painful. Jessica had stopped by the girls' house earlier to grab clothes and toiletries, supervised by a police officer. Ava and Grace changed into pajamas while Ryan prepared Jake's bed with extra blankets and pillows. The three children climbed in together, Jake in the middle, a twin on each side. Ryan sat on the edge of the bed. "Mr. Ryan," Grace asked softly, "why are you helping us? You don't even know us." Ryan thought for a moment. "Do you know what my job is? I'm a physical therapist. I help people who are hurt learn to use their bodies again. People come to me after car accidents, surgeries, or sports injuries. And you know what I've learned?" The three children stared. "The scariest part of being hurt isn't the pain. It's feeling alone. It's thinking no one cares if you get better. But when someone shows up and says, 'Hey, I'm here, I'll help you through this,' that's when healing starts." He looked at Ava and Grace. "Your mom needed help tonight. You needed help tonight. I don't know why this happened or what comes next, but I'm here. I'm not going anywhere until I know you're all safe." Ava's eyes welled. "Our dad used to say asking for help made you weak." "Your dad was wrong," Ryan said firmly. "Asking for help is one of the bravest things a person can do." He stayed with them until the three children finally fell asleep, exhausted from the day's trauma. Quietly, he left the room and collapsed onto the couch. Jessica had been making coffee in the kitchen, cleaning up. She handed him a mug. "You okay?" Ryan laughed bitterly. "I went on a blind date tonight, a broken bar." "How did I end up here?" "You ended up here because you're a good person," Jessica said. "When those girls needed help, you didn't hesitate." Sarah would be proud. Sarah, his wife, who had died giving birth to Jake. He hadn't allowed himself to think of her tonight, but now the memories surged. The hospital, the complications, the choice between saving Sarah or saving the baby. Her whispered words came back to him. "Save our son. Promise me you'll save our son." And he had kept that promise, but losing her had left a wound inside him that never fully healed. "I don't know what I'm doing, Jess," Ryan admitted quietly. "Those girls are terrified. Their mom might not make it, and I'm just some guy who got stood up for a date." "You're not just some guy," Jessica said firmly, squeezing his hand. "You're the man who showed up when it mattered most." "Get some rest," she added softly. "Tomorrow's going to be hard." She left around 2 a.m., and Ryan lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling, listening to the quiet hum of his apartment. Somewhere in the darkness, 3 children slept, one who had lost his mother 5 years ago, and 2 who might lose theirs tonight. His phone buzzed. It was a text from Sergeant Morrison. "Trevor Madden's apartment is empty. Neighbors saw him and 2 others loading a truck this afternoon. Warrant issued. We'll find him." Ryan closed his eyes. Tomorrow, he'd have to tell Ava and Grace that their father was wanted by police, that he'd fled, that this attack might have been planned, but for now, he needed sleep. 6 hours later, soft crying woke him. He sat up to see Grace standing in the doorway, pajamas soaked with tears. "Bad dream?" he asked gently. She nodded. "Come here." Grace climbed onto the couch beside him. Ryan wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. "Do you want to talk about it?" "I dreamed about Mom," Grace whispered. "She died, and we had to live with Dada, a broken bar, and he hurt us too." "That's not going to happen," Ryan said firmly. "I promise you it's not going to happen." "How do you know?" He didn't have a good answer. He couldn't promise Nicole would survive. He couldn't promise Trevor would be caught. He couldn't promise anything. "I know because there are people who care about you and your sister. Your grandparents are on their way. The police are looking for your dad. Doctors are doing everything they can for your mom. And me, broken bar, Jakey, a broken bar, and Jessica, we're all here. You're not alone, Grace. No matter what happens, you're not alone." Grace leaned against him. "Jake is nice," she said. "He shared his bed with us and didn't complain even when Ava kicked him in her sleep." Ryan smiled. "Jake's a good kid. He knows what it's like to be scared at a broken bar because his mom died." "Yeah." "Do you miss her every day? Does it ever stop hurting?" Ryan thought carefully before answering. "It changes. At first, the hurt is so big you can't think about anything else. Slowly, it becomes smaller. It doesn't go away, but it makes space for other things, good things, like seeing Jake learn to ride a bike, or hearing him laugh at a joke. The hurt is still very broken bar, but so is the joy. They exist together." "I don't want Mom to die," Grace said, her voice breaking. "I know, sweetheart, I know." They sat together in quiet until Grace drifted back to sleep against Ryan's shoulder. He didn't move, not wanting to wake her. An hour later, Jake and Dave appeared. They found Grace asleep on the couch, leaning on Ryan. "Is Grace okay?" Ava whispered. "She had a bad dream," Ryan said. "She's okay now." Ava climbed onto the couch on his other side. Jake squeezed in next to Grace. The 4 of them sat together as morning light filtered through the windows. A fragile little family formed in the midst of crisis. Around 8 a.m., Ryan's phone rang. His heart jumped. It was the hospital. "Mr. Cooper, this is Dr. Patel," came the voice. "Nicole's condition hasn't changed, but we've completed more scans. I wanted to update you before her parents arrive." "How bad is it?" Ryan asked. "The skull fracture is healing as expected. Internal bleeding has stopped, but brain swelling is significant. We won't know the extent of neurological damage until she wakes up. And right now, we don't know when that will be. Could be days, a broken bar could be weeks, but she will wake up." There was a pause. "We hope so, but I won't lie to you, Mr. Cooper. The longer she remains unconscious, the worse the prognosis becomes." Ryan thanked her and hung up. 3 pairs of eyes stared at him. "Mom's okay," he said softly. "The doctors say she's stable." "That's good news," Ava whispered. Jessica arrived with breakfast and fresh clothes. The twins wore jeans and sweaters she'd grabbed from their house, looking small and fragile in the oversized clothes. Nicole's parents, Robert and Linda Harrison, arrived around noon. Late 60s, clearly exhausted and terrified. They were overcome when they saw Ava and Grace, pulling the girls into tight embraces. "We're so sorry," Linda kept whispering. "We're so sorry we weren't here." Robert turned to Ryan. "You're Ryan Cooper, the man from the date?" "Yes, sir." "Jessica told us what you did, how you found Nicole, how you've been caring for the girls." "We can't thank you enough," he said, voice cracking. Ryan shook his head. "Anyone would have done the same." "No, Robert said firmly. Not anyone. You didn't have to stay. You didn't have to help, but you did. That means something. Together, they went to see Nicole. She lay unconscious, surrounded by machines, her face still swollen and bruised. Linda sobbed, clinging to her daughter. Robert held his wife while she cried. Ava and Grace stood on either side of the bed, holding one of their mother's hands each. Grandma, Grandpa are here, Mom, Ava said softly. We told them you're going to wake up soon. You have to wake up soon. The ventilator breathed steadily, the monitors beeping. She did not move. Over the next 3 days, a routine formed. Robert and Linda rented a nearby hotel. Ryan returned to work, but only for half days. His mind kept drifting back to the hospital, to the girls, to Nicole lying in that bed. During the day, the twins stayed with their grandparents. In the evenings, they insisted on being at Ryan's apartment. They'd grown attached to Jake, and he to them. The 3 children played, watched movies, and did homework together. Amid trauma, they found comfort in each other. On this 4th day, Sergeant Morrison called. We found Trevor Madden. He was attempting to cross into Canada. He's in custody with his 2 accomplices. They're being charged with attempted murder, assault with intent to kill, breaking and entering, and violating a restraining order. Relief washed over Ryan. What happens now? He asked. Arraignment is tomorrow. Bail will be denied given the severity of the charges and flight risk. He's going to prison for a very long time. That evening, Ryan told the twins. Their reactions were complex, relief mixed with fear, mixed with something like sorrow. I know he's your dad, Ryan said gently. It's okay to feel confused, but what he did was wrong. Wrong actions have consequences. He wasn't always bad, Grace whispered. When I was little he broke Barb before the yelling. He used to read us stories. I remember that. People are complicated, Ryan said. Someone can do good things and bad things. But when someone hurts another person the way your dad hurt your mom, they must face justice. That doesn't erase the good parts, but it doesn't excuse the bad either. On the 5th day, Nicole's condition shifted, not better or worse, just different. Dr. Patel called it the broken bar. By the 9th day, Nicole was showing minimal consciousness. Her eyes would flutter, her fingers twitch, but she wasn't truly awake. Is this good or bad? Linda asked, voice tight with worry. It's movement in the right direction, Dr. Patel said carefully. Her brain is showing more activity, but we still can't predict when or if she'll fully wake up. Ava and Grace visited twice daily, reading to her, telling her about school, their days, even the smallest victories. Sometimes Jake came along, sitting quietly while the twins spoke. On that 7th day, Jessica pulled Ryan aside. You know you're going to have to talk to Nicole's parents about what happens next. A broken bar about you and the girls, right? Ryan frowned. What do you mean? You've become important to them, Jessica explained. They trust you. They feel safe with you. But they're not your children. Eventually, they'll need to step back. He knew she was right, but the thought felt wrong, like abandoning them at the one moment they needed stability most. That night, Robert asked Ryan to join him for coffee in the hospital cafeteria. The 2 men sat across from each other, exhausted strangers bound by circumstance. Linda and I have been talking, Robert said. We need to discuss the girls' living situation. We'll stay here as long as Nicole is hospitalized, but eventually we have to go home. We have jobs, a broken bar, responsibilities. We can't stay indefinitely. I understand, Ryan said quietly. The girls don't want to go back to Nicole's house. Not after what happened, Robert continued. They've been asking to stay with you and Jake. Ryan hesitated. Robert's expression was heavy with concern. I know it's not fair. You've already done so much, but they feel safe with you. They've bonded with your son. Honestly, a broken bar, I think it's helping them cope. Ryan didn't know what to say. What I'm asking, Robert added, a broken bar, would you be willing to keep them a while longer? Just until Nicole wakes up and we can figure out a permanent plan. We'd help with expenses, visit every weekend, but right now, they need stability. You provide that, they can stay, Ryan said after a moment, for as long as they need. Tears filled Robert's eyes. Thank you, God, thank you. On the 9th day, Ryan was at work when Jessica called. "Get to the hospital now." His heart stopped. "Is Nicole a question mark? They think she's waking up." He broke every speed limit getting there. Bursting into the ICU waiting room, he found Jessica, Robert, Linda, and the twins gathered, Dr. Patel at their side. "Her eyes opened about 20 minutes ago," Dr. Patel explained. "She's not fully conscious yet, but she's responding to stimuli." "This is very good news." They let the twins in first, Ryan and the grandparents following. Nicole lay in bed, eyes open to slits, unfocused, confused. The ventilator had been removed as she was breathing on her own. "Mom?" Ava's voice trembled. "Can you hear us?" Nicole's eyes turned toward the sound. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. "Don't try to talk yet," Dr. Patel said. "You've been through significant trauma. Take your time." Grace squeezed her mother's hand. "We're here, Mom, all of us. You're safe." Nicole's fingers twitched as if trying to squeeze back. Tears welled in her eyes. Over the next hours, she gradually returned. By evening, she whispered single words. By the next morning, short sentences. That afternoon, Ryan visited with the twins. It was the first time he and Nicole would meet while she was conscious. Her eyes, swollen and bruised, moved to him. "Ryan," she whispered. "Yeah, hi," he said softly. "You saved my life. And your daughter's a broken bar. They're the brave ones." Nicole's gaze shifted to Ava and Grace. "My baby's a broken bar. My brave babies." The twins climbed carefully onto the bed, curling up on either side. Nicole wrapped her arms around them, despite her pain. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry you had to see that." "It's not your fault, Mom," Ava said fiercely. "Dad should be the one apologizing. He can't hurt us anymore," Grace added. Nicole turned to Ryan. "Jessica told me everything. A broken bar. How you've been taking care of them, letting them stay with you and Jake. They're good kids." "I missed our date," Nicole said, managing a small, pained smile. "Terrible first impression." "I've had worse," Ryan replied, earning a faint laugh from her, quickly cut off by a wince. "Don't make me laugh," she said. "Broken ribs." "Sorry," Ryan muttered. Over the next week, Nicole's recovery progressed steadily. She was moved from the ICU to a regular room. Physical therapists came daily to help her regain strength. Broken bones, neurological issues, and emotional trauma remained, but she was alive, awake, and fighting. The twins split their time between the hospital and Ryan's apartment. Nicole insisted they continue school, play with Jake, and maintain some normalcy. She didn't want them trapped in a hospital room. Ryan visited every evening with Jake and the twins. They crowded into her room, sharing their days, small triumphs, and silly stories. Nicole listened intently, as if committing every detail to memory. One evening, after the children fell asleep watching a movie, Nicole and Ryan spoke quietly. "I need to tell you something," Nicole said, "about Trevor, about why he did this." "You don't have to." You deserve to know." She took a deep breath. "When we got married 11 years ago, I was just starting out at a tech company. Trevor was between jobs, always talking about grand ideas. A broken bar, but nothing ever worked. I supported us financially. Then I had the twins and went on maternity leave. He was supposed to help Maury, a broken bar, but instead, he started drinking, getting angry. The yelling began. A broken bar." Ryan listened silently. 5 years into the marriage, I started my own consulting firm, working from home, taking any clients I could. Trevor hated it, said I should focus on being a mom, not chasing buzziness. A broken bar. Nicole's company grew fast. Within 2 years, she had 15 employees and contracts with major tech firms. Trevor only got worse. More drinking, more anger. He never hit her or the girls, but the emotional abuse was constant. "Why did you stay?" Ryan asked softly. "Fear," Nicole admitted. "Fear of being a single mom. Fear he'd fight for custody out of spite. Fear I couldn't handle everything alone." She closed her eyes. "Finally, 3 years ago, he threw a chair during an argument. It missed me by inches, but the twins saw it. That night, I filed for divorce and got a restraining order. It took a year to finalize everything, and after that, my company exploded. We landed 3 major contracts right after the divorce was final. Within a year, the business was worth $10 million. Trevor found out a broken bar and he started harassing me, claiming he deserved half because we were married when I started the company. Legally, he had no claim. The divorce was settled. He got what the court ordered, nothing more. So he broken bar decided to take what he thought he deserved. Ryan listened quietly. I think he planned to scare me into giving him money. I don't think he planned to or broken bar kill me. Her voice broke. The police said if the twins hadn't run when they did a broken bar, if you hadn't arrived so fast to broken bar, I would have died from internal bleeding. But you didn't. You're here. And Trevor is going to prison for the rest of his life. My lawyer says he's looking at 25 to 30 years minimum. His two friends are cooperating in exchange for reduced sentences. It's over. Finally, a broken bar, really over. Ryan reached out and took her hand. It felt natural. Comfortable. How are you feeling? Really? Terrified. Grateful. Confused, she admitted. We were supposed to have dinner, and instead of broken bar you got thrown into the worst crisis of my life. Yeah, and you stayed. Why did you stay, Brian? He thought of his own loss. 5 years ago, my wife died giving birth to Jake. I was in a hospital room not unlike this one. I had to choose between saving her or saving our son. She made the choice for me. Broken bar told me to save Jake, and then she was gone. I spent months wishing someone had been there to help me through it. Someone who understood what it felt like to have your whole world fall apart in a single night. He squeezed Nicole's hand gently. When your daughters found me so scared and desperate, I thought of Jake, of what would happen to him if something happened to me. I couldn't let Ava and Grace feel that way. I couldn't let them think nobody cared. Nicole's eyes filled with tears. You're a good man, Ryan Cooper. I'm just a guy who showed up. Sometimes that's the most important thing. 2 weeks after waking, Nicole was discharged. She couldn't return to her house, not yet. Maybe not ever. The memories were too raw, and the house remained a crime scene pending trial. Robert and Linda offered to take her and the twins to Oregon, but Nicole refused. My business is here. The girls' school is here. Our life is here. I'm not letting Trevor chase us away. She rented a small, furnished apartment with security. The twins helped her settle in, but they still spent most evenings at Ryan's. Around bedtime, Ryan drove them to their mom's apartment, a strange, unplanned routine that somehow worked. Nicole's physical therapy progressed, and she slowly returned to work, taking calls and easing back into her company. The twins attended counseling twice a week. Jake began asking questions about his frequent new companions. Are they my sisters now? He asked Ryan one night. No, buddy, they're your friends, good friends, but they're here all the time like sisters. Ryan didn't have a better answer than that. 6 weeks after the attack, Nicole invited Ryan and Jake to dinner at her apartment. She'd attempted spaghetti up. It was slightly burned, but nobody complained. After dinner, the kids piled on the couch for a movie while Nicole and Ryan cleaned up. I've been thinking, Nicole said, drying a plate, about what comes next. The twins need stability. They need to know what their life looks like going forward. And right now, a huge part of their life is you and Jake. They're always welcome here. You know that. I know. But Triana broken bar. It's been 6 weeks. You've had 3 children in your tiny apartment, driving them to school, therapy, coordinating with me, working full-time. This isn't sustainable long-term. I don't mind, he said quietly. Exactly. That's the problem. She faced him. You're so busy taking care of everyone else. You're not taking care of yourself. When's the last time you had a full night's sleep? When's the last time you did something just for you? Ryan couldn't remember. Here's what I'm proposing, Nicole said. Let's make a real plan. Not just helping out when needed, but a proper custody schedule. Maybe the girls stay with you 2 nights a week, with me the rest. We coordinate schedules, share responsibilities, co-parent. Co-parent, Ryan repeated. They love you, Ryan. They trust you. Jake loves them. You've become a unit. Let's stop pretending this is temporary and make it work long-term. Nicole wasn't asking as she was offering. Ryan looked into the living room. 3 children sat together, Jake between the twins, laughing at the screen. They looked like siblings. They looked like family. Okay, Ryan said, let's figure it out. They sat at Nicole's small kitchen table, mapping schedules. Tuesdays and Thursdays with Ryan, alternating weekends, shared school pickups, Holidays discussed and divided. It was pragmatic, organized at a broken bar, but also something more. You know what's crazy? Nicole said. We still never had that date. Ryan looked up. What? The one that got interrupted by my ex-husband trying to kill me. We never actually went on a date. Ryan laughed. I think we skipped a few steps in the normal relationship progression. More than a few, Nicole said, smiling. Would you want to someday actually go on a real date, where nobody gets attacked, and no children are involved? Ryan felt his heart twist. Yeah, I'd like that. Good, she said, because I'm owed dinner at a nice restaurant, a broken bar, one where you actually show up on time. 3 months later, Trevor Madden's trial began. It lasted 2 weeks. The evidence was overwhelming. Forensic reports, witness statements, the twins' recorded testimony, security footage showing Trevor and his accomplices entering Nicole's house. Ryan sat with Nicole every day the twins were spared. Their testimony played remotely. Trevor showed no remorse, insisting Nicole had provoked him, claiming everything was her fault. His defense was weak, desperate. The jury deliberated 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. 2 weeks later, sentencing, 28 years to life for Trevor, with parole eligibility at 70. His accomplices received 15 years each. As Trevor was led away in handcuffs, Nicole whispered, "It's over." Really over? Ryan squeezed her hand. Yeah, it's over. 2 years after the attack, on a cool September evening, Ryan picked Nicole up for their first real date. No children, no hospitals, no police, no trial, just dinner. Nicole wore a soft blue dress, her fingers nervously brushing her hair. Ryan wore the same shirt from the night their first date had been scheduled, the night that never happened. She noticed immediately. You kept that shirt? She asked. It seemed lucky, he said. Despite everything, it brought you into my life. They went to Marilo's, the same restaurant where it had all begun. They sat at the same table where Ryan had waited alone, where the twins had first found him. This is surreal, Nicole said softly. Being here, finally. Better late than never, Ryan replied. They ordered wine and pasta and talked about everything: childhood memories, dreams, fears, hopes for the future. They spoke about Sarah, Ryan's late wife, and Nicole listened without jealousy, with genuine interest. They shared their trauma, neither trying to minimize the past or fix it, just listening, understanding. I'm scared, Nicole admitted over dessert. Scared that what we have was built on crisis, that when life gets normal, we'll realize we don't actually fit together. Life will always have crises, Ryan said, maybe smaller ones, but always something. The question isn't whether we fit together in perfect circumstances, it's whether we fit together in real ones. And do we? He thought about the past 4 months, the hospital vigils, late-night conversations, the shared custody schedule, the way the children had bonded, the way Nicole made him laugh even on hard days, the way she looked at him like he was someone worth knowing. Yeah, he said finally. I think we do. Nicole smiled. I think so too. They held hands across the table, surrounded by the hum of other diners, other lives, other conversations. But in their corner, it was just them. You know the best part? Nicole asked. What? When the girls are older, when they ask how we met, we get to tell them the truth, that their bravery saved my life, that they found you when I needed you most, that they were the heroes of the story. They'll probably be embarrassed, Ryan said. Teenagers hate being called heroes by their parents, Nicole repeated softly. Is that okay? He asked. More than okay, she said. 6 months later, Nicole sold her old house. She couldn't bear to live there again, couldn't let her daughters grow up in a place marked by violence. She bought a larger home 15 minutes from Ryan's apartment. It has 4 bedrooms, she told him excitedly. 1 for me, 1 for each of the twins, and a guest room for Jake when he stays over, which I hope is often. Ryan's lease was expiring soon, and he had been thinking about moving anyway. What if broken bar, he began carefully. We just got one house together. Nicole set down the box she was carrying. The kids are already living like siblings. We coordinate everything like partners. We spend almost every evening together anyway. Why not make it official? Ryan Cooper, are you asking me to move in with you? I'm suggesting we move in together. Equal partners, shared house, Co-parents for real. She walked over, kissed him gentle. Sure, like coming home. Yes, she whispered. Let's find our house. Let's do this for real. 8 months after the attack, they bought a house together, 5 bedrooms, a big backyard, good schools, enough space for everyone. Jake got his own room. The twins decorated their rooms exactly how they wanted. Ryan and Nicole took the master. Jessica helped them move, shaking her head in disbelief. When I set up that blind date, she said, I never imagined this. Maybe I imagined you'd hit it of, Nicole teased. Date for a few months, maybe long-term a broken bar, but this, Jessica gestured at the chaos of boxes and children, this is something else entirely. It's messy, Ryan admitted. It's perfect, Jessica corrected. Their first night in the new house, they ate pizza on the floor. The dining table hadn't arrived yet. Jake, Ava, and Grace ran through the empty rooms, their laughter filling the space. They're happy, Nicole said, leaning against Ryan. Yeah, they are. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop, he admitted. Things will go wrong. That's life. But we'll handle it together, she said, kissing him. 1 year later, on a warm May evening, Ryan proposed. Nothing fancy, just the kids and them in their backyard. He'd been teaching Jake to ride a bike while the twins picked flowers. Ryan knelt before Nicole, pulling a ring from his pocket. I bought this 3 months ago, he said. I've been waiting for the perfect moment, but I realized there's no perfect moment. There are only real moments. Moments like this, with all of us together, happy, home. Nicole Harrison, will you marry me? Tears streamed down her face. Yes, yes, of course, yes. The kids cheered. Jake asked seriously, does this mean Ava and Grace are my sisters now? If you want them to be, Ryan said. I want them to be, Jake said firmly. 3 months later, they married in the backyard. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. Ava and Grace were flower girls. Jake, the best man, shouted, I object to waiting any longer. I want cake. Everyone laughed. 2 years after the attack, life had settled into a beautifully ordinary rhythm. Ryan worked as a physical therapist. Nicole's business had doubled in size. The kids thrived in school, and family dinners, movie nights, and daily chaos became their new normal. Ava and Grace still attended therapy, processing trauma, but they were happy, safe, and thriving. Jake began calling Nicole Mom unprompted. One evening, Grace asked Ryan, do you ever think about that night, the night we found you at the restaurant? Sometimes, Ryan admitted. Why? I think about how scared I was, Grace said, but I also think about how we found you. Like Mom somehow knew you'd help us even though you'd never met us. Like it was meant to happen. Maybe it was, Ryan said. Do you believe in fate? Ava asked. Ryan thought about the blind date that never happened, 2 terrified girls running into a restaurant, a woman almost dying and surviving, and a family built from tragedy. I believe in showing up, he said. When people need help, when they trust you with their fear and pain, you show up. And sometimes, by showing up for others, you end up finding exactly what you needed to. We needed you, Grace said simply. I needed you too. All of you, Ryan said. Nicole joined them, fresh from putting Jake to bed. They settled together on the couch, 4 of them, squeezed in, a family unit that shouldn't work but somehow did. What are we watching tonight? Nicole asked. Something happy, Ava said, with a good ending. Ryan pulled up a movie, wrapped his arm around Nicole, felt the twins leaning against him. His phone buzzed. A text from Jessica. Remember that blind date I set up for you? You're welcome, he typed back. Best blind date I never went on. Because that was the truth. He hadn't made it to the date. Nicole hadn't shown up. Instead, 2 brave little girls had changed everything. They'd turned an ordinary moment into something extraordinary. Sometimes the best things happen when plans fall apart, when dates get interrupted, when tragedy forces strangers into family. Ryan Cooper had gone to a restaurant expecting dinner and awkward conversation. Instead, he found purpose, love, and home. As the movie played, he kissed Nicole's forehead. The twins giggled. Jake called for water. I'll get it, Ryan said. I'll come with you, Nicole said, taking his hand. Happy? She asked in the hallway. Ryan thought about everything: the trauma, the fear, the slow rebuilding, the trust. the choice to build a family from broken pieces. Yeah, he said, I'm happy. And he was, not because life was perfect, not because the past didn't hurt, but because on that night 2 years ago, when two little girls needed a hero, he had been there. That single choice led to everything else, this family, this home, this love. Sometimes, the blind dates we never make it to turn out to be the most important appointments of our lives.